red
until
hair.
I
You went
did.
back
I
to the
did.
red.
It's fading fast though, so I gotta re-dye it. Before it
I
was like a
told
bright
you,
pink
we talked
color.
about red. We
Well,
told you
Shelly, if
about
you
what
came
red
down here
was.
originally, you could have cut my hair and dyed my hair for free, and that would have been great. But you
I
know, you
don't
decided
work
not
when
to.
I'm on vacation. All the divas they're like, hey, can you do my hair for Elegant Night? I'm like, are you kidding me? No, I'm not doing your hair. Except one of you, I did one time. You know who you are.
Okay,
Don't
guys,
you
we
tell
got
anybody.
10 seconds before the show starts. Okay, guys, make sure you get those questions ready for Jorge. San Juan Tours.
Yeah.
On tonight's show, we take a deep dive into the port of Puerto Rico and get your questions answered from our local tour guide there. Shelly is back, and she'll be covering the second part of her favorite things on a cruise ship with the latest cruise news, my science segment on why you should never hug a jellyfish, and of course, our photo of the week. Stay tuned and jump into that chat room because this is Cruise Week TV Live. Our show this week is brought to you by the folks at Good Memories Travel and by vMix. Welcome to another Saturday night. If you're watching live, hello, and if you're not, well, hello for watching this a little bit later on the replay. I am Matt, and I am still a newbie cruiser, and I think that's the way Bird, our producer, would like to keep it. But on this show, we get to learn all about the destinations and the best tips and tricks for cruising by bringing on the experts who know. And this week, we will be looking at Puerto Rico with local tour guides from El Tour Guide, Puerto Rico. So you can ask them your questions about the best spots and things to do when your ship docks there. Also, if you remember our show with Shelly last time, she had so much to cover, we couldn't fit it all in one show. So we have the second part of your favorite things on a cruise ship coming up. But before all of this, let's take a look at our photo of the week. This week's photo comes from the Facebook group New Orleans Carnival Cruisers, and this one was sent in by Tammy Lynn Raymer, pictured here at the Mahogany Bay sign before the head off to explore and get some more sun. Thanks for sending in that photo. Now, we had a lot of photos sent in, but our number one rule is you or your family must be in the photo. Remember that. We have beautiful ship photos, but no one is in the shot. So, yeah. We also pick a new group each week to feature the best photo from that group. So next week, it could be yours. When you book a cruise, you can book it online, you can call the cruise line direct, or you can save some extra money and call a travel agent. Having a travel agent not only can save you money and cashback incentives and extra gifts, but if there is a problem with your booking, you have someone on the inside to help sort it out rather than just calling a rep on the phone at the cruise line. Good Memories Travel is a full-service travel agency that offers you cashback and incentives that you won't get booking direct with the cruise lines. Why would you pay more for less? You can call or visit Good Memories Travel on the web, and it costs you nothing to compare a price and see the superior service and extras you get when you go through Debbie and her team for your next cruise vacation. They cover all the cruise lines, and if you are a new cruiser, they can suggest the best ship to cruise your cruising style. Give Debbie a call or visit their website today and see how much easier and cheaper it can be. Debbie can be reached directly at 321-338-2953, and of course, through the website at goodmemoriestravel.com. So this week we are focusing on the cruise port of San Juan, Puerto Rico, which is an actual cruise home port for the Carnival Fascination. But some other ships do go there on the Caribbean cruises, the Carnival Magic and the Carnival Glory. And on Royal, the Harmony and the Oasis, also the Allure, all visit the port. So it's a pretty popular cruising destination. Puerto Rico is a Caribbean island and unincorporated U.S. territory with a landscape of mountains, waterfalls, and the El Yunque tropical rainforest. In San Juan, the capital and largest city, the Isla Verde area is known for its hotel strip, beach bars, and casinos. Its old San Juan neighborhood features colorful Spanish colonial buildings and El Morro and the La Fortaleza, massive centuries-old fortresses, and a population of 3.337 million people. But to tell us a lot more about the island is Jorge Montalvo. from El Tour Guide Puerto Rico. Welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me here today. And I give you a big welcome in Puerto Rico to all of you who are planning to visit Puerto Rico at some point in one of our magnificent cruise ships that come to the island.
Well, it's great to have you on. First question, did I pronounce your name correctly?
Pretty close. I think you did a fantastic job for having Spanish as not as your first language.
I'll take
so
it.
my name is
it.
Jorge.
Jorge.
Right?
Okay.
The R's is the hard part of it, but it's not a big deal.
I'm getting there. I mean, I'm working with like a lot of different Spanish cuisines that I grew up with, like sofrito. I could roll the R in sofrito.
There you go.
See, it's just the names and some of these locations I struggle with, but that's nothing new. If you guys are watching this, you should know I am terrible with names, and I always have Shelly yelling at me about, "Oh, you're pronouncing this wrong." So, yeah.
No, the most important one, maybe rom. It's a good one. Ron in Spanish. So comes handy.
So tell us a little bit about you.
Well, I'm a tour guide in San Juan, so I work for different companies, but I also do private tours mostly in the Old San Juan area. And it's good to know that Old San Juan is where your cruise ship is going to be anchoring. San Juan, it's metropolitan, it's a city, it's the capital of the island, but it has a Spanish colonial town that is where the cruise ships land. And since 4 years ago, I've been touring Old San Juan, but throughout the years, I have expanded, to different areas of the island that include El Yunque and different zipline parks in the island. So I also into adventure tours. I do rappelling, ziplining, hiking, and caving in different parts of Puerto Rico. And, this are just some of the few things you can do in Puerto Rico while you're visiting. And now I have the opportunity to, start my own Facebook page, El Tour Guide, where the idea is to give information to travelers that are planning to come to the island soon. And, I've just mentioned a little bit of our history, our culture, places where you can visit, and a little bit of general knowledge about Puerto Rico. So if you are interested in, planning your trip, learning a little more about the touristic destinations of the island, El Tour Guide PR, El Tour Guide Puerto Rico may be a really good website to follow.
So I always ask this every single time with a lot of different people on islands and just kind of all over the areas for many tour guides. What are some of the staple cuisines and staple drinks there? I love food. I'm a big foodie.
Yeah.
I love trying really unique food that I can only get at some of these islands.
I'm glad you're starting in that topic because that's one of the best things you can find in Puerto Rico. For those of you who are visiting the island on a cruise ship, you're going to be steps away from Old San Juan. And it's great to know that Old San Juan has some of the best restaurants in the island. And our main dish here is mofongo. Mofongo, you will hear it all over the place. And it's a dish made out of plantain. So we get the green plantain before they get ripe. We deep fry this, and then you smash that plantain into a texture that is solid, but it usually served with sauces. So that makes it more tasty, easy to swallow. And we usually also add seafood, pork, or chicken. And you usually have to ask, Creole sauce, which is a tomato-based sauce, or garlic sauce. And if you want to try something in San Juan, it will be the mofongo. Right?
That sounds really, really good. I have not eaten dinner yet, so I'm kind of a little bit upset at myself that I opened up with this. So,
yeah, me either. Don't take me a long time because I haven't had dinner yet, and now I have cravings for mofongo.
So, what about some of the drinks? I know. So, a little bit more background about you. Well, let me just start like this. Normally, Bird is the person who finds a lot of the people to get onto the show. However, Bird's been getting a bit busier and busier, so he's been asking myself and Joe to take a bit more responsibility for some different aspects of that. And Joe and I happily agreed to do that. So you're actually the first guest that I found. And
Right.
I think it's really funny because I went to college for microbiology, and
There you
you
go.
also went to
Yeah.
graduate school for microbiology, right?
That's right. I mean, it was a big jump, actually. I was a microbiology professor here in Puerto Rico just before I turned into tourism. And one of my passions of microbiology is beer brewing. So and I know you are also into that,
Look at
and
that.
so we share that experience. And it was interesting to change from microbes to tourists. And but at the same time, I think it was a wise idea because travelers usually are not as smelly as bacteria. And to be
True,
honest,
true.
Old San Juan is way better to work in than a lab. It's at least more exciting
It's
and more
yeah,
pretty. So I mean,
yeah.
it wasn't a very hard change, but it was definitely something drastic, I guess. But in Puerto
Exactly.
Rico, for drinks, if you like beer, Puerto Rico has 7 different microbreweries all over the island, and there's bars in Old San Juan that also offer most of these beers and different kinds of IPAs, stouts. I was trying last night some of the local lagers, which is something hard to manufacture or produce in Puerto Rico because the fermentation has to be cold. And with our weather,
Mhm.
it's more expensive to ferment lagers here. So
Mhm.
if you have the chance to try a beer, lager will be kind of an exotic beer in Puerto Rico in that way.
Nice.
But many people out there don't know that San Juan is the hometown of piña colada, right? Piña
Hmm.
coladas were invented in San Juan. There's 2 places here that are debating the first piña colada. Let's
Mhm.
put it that way.
The origins.
And one of those, the origin. So they fight. They say like, no, here it was invented here. Then the other ones have saying like, no, the piña colada is a thing of our hotel, but it's a thing of Old San Juan of San Juan. So if you next time you go visit Old San Juan, try a piña colada. It's the local drink and perhaps the most famous drink that Puerto Rico has ever done.
Also, guys, make sure you put those questions in the comments below. I know Bacardi has a pretty big distillery down there. Is that correct?
That's right. Actually, Bacardi has its biggest manufacturing plant in San Juan. And once as you cruise into the harbor of San Juan, you will see their distillery in your right side. And it's a building, it's a 3-story building that is known as the Cathedral of Rum. And that's because it's the place where it's the biggest distillery of rum in the planet. Bacardi produces 80% of its rum in Puerto Rico, and from here it gets exported all over the world. So, it's a very popular rum in the island, but we also have other rums that are more popular among the locals. Don Q is our local rum. It's manufactured in Ponce. And if you go to a bar, the first rum they're going to be serving you is Don Q, not Bacardi. Bacardi is a thing for exportation mostly. And locals, though, enjoy mostly Don Q. But if you really want to try like a rum that goes over the top, it will be Ron del Barrilito, from rum of the little barrel. This rum is a 3-star rum. It tastes pretty much as a whiskey. You can serve it on the rocks and drink it as sips by sip, and you will enjoy those tastes. It's interesting that in Puerto Rico, if you want to distill rum, you need to do it in white oak barrels that were used in the whiskey industry. So that's why some of our rums have those, wooden flavors and kind of a whiskey aftertaste. And Barrilito is one of those. But Bacardi and Don Q also have specialty rums
Mhm.
that have those kind of flavors. So if you are a rum fan, you can also try some of the local bars that offer rum tastings,
I
including the
am
Bacardi distillery.
I
Yep.
am definitely a rum fan. I love trying different types of alcohol. When we
Yeah.
went to Mexico, our friend Adrian hooked us up with a tequila tasting tour. That was awesome.
Nice.
So any tours that involve, alcohol, especially right in the morning to just kind of make me feel a bit happier and more alive from my sleep deprivation, that's just great. We have
Boom.
quite
That's
a
the
bit
way
of
to start a
questions
morning.
coming in too. This one, it comes from Cherise Colley. She wants to know a little bit more about some of the forts and some of the cultural history about Puerto Rico.
All right. Yes, the forts. This is perhaps one of the most visited attraction of Old San Juan, and it's fantastic because it's within walking distance from the ports. And there's two main forts that you want to visit in Old San Juan. Is the San Cristobal Fort. That one is found in the eastern side of the city, and then there is El Morro Fort. That one is in the northwestern side of the city, and it's the one that you will be seeing as you head inside the harbor of San Juan on your left side. It's a massive 6-story fortification, and it's one of the most visited places in Old San Juan. The National Park Service in their last report, they show that there was 1.5 million visitors to the El Morro Fort, and the fortifications of Old San Juan are like nothing else in the Caribbean. They are actually considered World Heritage Sites and they are only one of 2 World Heritage Sites we have in Puerto Rico. So if you have an opportunity to visit the forts, don't miss it. And also, you will see along the town the walls of San Juan, not to be confused with the forts. Okay, the city of San Juan was surrounded by a wall system, but the forts are found in the eastern and western side of the town. The entrance fee for the forts is $7. You can use the same ticket for both forts. So the same day you can visit both, and they are within walking distance from each other. So it's perhaps almost a mile. Is kind of a walk, I know, but there is also other ways of transportation. There's actually a trolley that takes you around the city that you can avoid the walk, or you can just take a short taxi ride from one fort to the other. Right.
So how far away is San Juan from the, I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, the El Yunque jungle?
Yeah, El Yunque, the national rainforest. It's our biggest natural reserve in the island. It's actually over 28,000 acres of protected land, and it's actually the only rainforest of the National Forestry Service, or the U.S. Forestry Service. It's just an hour drive. This is what is good about El Yunque. There's many tour companies offering tours that will pick you right in front of your port, take you to El Yunque, and then drive you back to the port safely. Usually those tours include a hike in one of the trails of the rainforest, and also a visit to their visitor center. There is it's a stop worth to do because you will learn about the importance of the forest, and also it gets you prepared to what you're gonna see as you hike along the forest. And it's just a 1 hour drive, so it's really not too far. But it's good to know for those of you who are planning to visit the island in the next month, is that parts of the rainforest are still closed after the hurricane. And that's because, imagine, it's a forest. The hurricane took down a lot of the trees, so some of the trails have not been cleaned yet. And so far, you can visit one waterfall and the visitor center in the rainforest. So if you're expecting to do a lot of hiking in the rainforest, unfortunately, we are not ready for that yet. But in the upcoming months, they will be opening other trails, and the main road that takes you to El Yunque will be also open to extend the ride in there. So, but still, go on. Sorry.
How bad was some of the damage that Puerto Rico sustained from the previous hurricanes? We've had several different tour guides come on from a lot of the islands in the Caribbean, and each of them have varying intensities, where it was either just completely destroyed and they had to just rebuild the whole island, to it blew a little wind. So how much was the damage in Puerto Rico?
Well, the damage was massive, and it was all over the island. This hurricane, it was one of the strongest hurricanes we have ever been hit. And the winds of Hurricane Maria hit 155 miles per hour when it landed in Puerto Rico. The worst part of the hurricane was that the hurricane crossed the island from the southeast side to the northwestern side, and it had spent almost 24 hours over the island. So the destruction was complete all over. But it's been 6 months after the hurricane. Things have recovered. We now have power in the metropolitan city. The touristic zone of San Juan is already powered. No problem with water supplies. No problem with cell phone service. So things have recovered. The forests, of course, take longer. There's estimates that the forest will take over a decade to recover to the point that it was before the hurricane. However, that doesn't mean that you cannot visit the forest. It actually makes it more interesting because you will be seeing a forest recovering from a natural event that only happened perhaps once in a century. And it's interesting to see how the plants, the animals, the soil recover from this massive event. So I don't think, Hurricane Maria is an excuse not to come to Puerto Rico anymore. Okay, we're open to tourism, and there's a lot of touristic attractions available to those visiting us. Most of them are already back to normal operations. So, don't let those, news that say, Puerto Rico, there's some areas that are still impacted, that are still recovering, but the touristic zone is back to business, and people here are desperate to have visitors coming to Puerto Rico because it's something that we really enjoy. We have a gorgeous island and we are proud of it. So we love to share this with the rest of the world.
We have quite a lot of people who are desperate to go to Puerto Rico. I got a lot of very similar questions that I've been kind of piling up for one big go. So Guy David says, it sounds like Old San Juan is a good for bar and restaurant district. And then Karen Bartel on Periscope says, any recommendations for restaurants or entertainment in the evening hours on Puerto Rico?
Right. Well, Old San Juan by far is one of the most popular restaurant and bar destinations of San Juan. Just to give you an example, this song Despacito, it broke the hit charts all over billboards in last year. And Despacito was filmed in one of the bars of Old San Juan. Many people don't know this. It was popular because some of the scenes of the video were filmed in La Perla. But the bar where it was recorded is right in Old San Juan. It's called La Factoria, and it's one of the most popular bars because of their mixology. It's very active at night. They also have one part of the bar is a dance hall where you gonna dance salsa all night long. And there's bars also for beer enthusiasts, whiskey enthusiasts. As I mentioned before, you can do rum tastings around Old San Juan. And if you're looking for local dishes, there's a couple of good restaurants that you may want to try. El Jibarito is a very famous one. De Averdura, I'll repeat that because it's a bit complicated. De Averdura is a local restaurant famous for its sampler. Here you can go and try a little bit of everything, of all the popular dishes of the Puerto Rican cuisine. And if you want to go to another level, have a fine dining experience, you can go to Mermelade. Mermelade is one of the top 5 restaurants in Puerto Rico, and is found right in the heart of Old San Juan. So you have different choices there. For local beers, I will recommend La Taberna Lúpulo, that translates into Tavern of the Hop. Or you can also go for local beers. Punto de Vista has Medalla on tap. That's something that is sometimes hard to find. Punto de Vista is a rooftop restaurant with one of the best mofongos in town. I personally like that one in a specific for mofongo because their sauces are the evolution of our classic mofongo. So, that's a good choice for, cruise ship passengers as well.
Nice. So it sounds like there's a huge amount of stuff to do there. With a lot of the cruise lines, I really, really hate that they can't stay longer at the ports. They do usually leave about 7, 8 o'clock, so it's hard to see some of the nightlife. However, some people choose to stay at the ports and then fly to the next port location. I wish I had that type of money to be able to do that. Some people also just fly direct to some of these locations. Would you recommend any different hotels around that area? And Richard also asked if there's any hotels near the cruise lines and operations in general.
They are so close that they are across the street from the ports of San Juan. The Sheraton Hotel is literally across Pier 3, where this massive ships like the Harmony, the Oasis of the Seas anchor. And also, Old San Juan is in line with the touristic zone of the San Juan metro area. So from Old San Juan, when you head east, you will find the Condado area, which is famous for its hotels, including the Ritz-Carlton, which has, that one is not there. The Vanderbilt is there. And the Vanderbilt is a fine hotel. It's a 4-diamond hotel. It's very luxury. It's the top of the line of the hotels of San Juan. But you can also find more, I'll say more accessible hotels like La Concha, the Condado Plaza, the Caribe Hilton. And these all hotels are fine within 10-minute drive from Old San Juan. So in terms of hotels, you have plenty of choices. Something else that is growing in Puerto Rico are the Airbnbs. Many people are now renting their second homes or their beach apartments in different parts of the island. So the Airbnbs are also an affordable option for many travelers. Also, even in Old San Juan, you can find Airbnbs where you can, maybe share a room or an apartment with some local, or just get a full house for your own or your family right in Old San Juan. But what is important about Puerto Rico, about your visit to San Juan, is planning. Okay, this is not a small island. This is not a place where you can see and drive around in a day. Puerto Rico is big. It has many activities to different kind of preferences. So my best recommendation is plan ahead. Use search engines like TripAdvisor, Yelp, and look for things that you would like to do in your Caribbean vacation ahead. Okay, because some, it's sad to see some of the cruise ship passengers getting off the ship with no idea what they're gonna be doing, and they are missing so much in the little time they have to spend in Old San Juan. That is sad to see. So before you head to Old San Juan, make sure you plan your vacation well, so you maximize things you can do in the town in that few hours you will have in port.
How customizable are your tours for a lot of people? I know we've talked to some tour guides where they have a very fixed schedule of, okay, I only offer, plan A, B, C. We've talked to some other tour guides that have very fluid, where you can just tell them, hey, I want to look at, I don't know, special restaurants, the beach, and this, and they kind of work around that. What type of plans and offers do you normally have?
Well, I have my standard tours. I offer 3-hour tours in Old San Juan, walking tours. Those are pretty standard. I also offer food tours where I visit usually the same spots in Old San Juan. But I'm very flexible. Like I customize tours to the needs of the travelers. And that's one of the things I enjoy the most, because it gets me off the comfort zone. Sometimes I need to research a little bit on, things that I might not be as good in other parts of the island. And just to give you an idea, this last January, I had a private tour with a couple that were visiting Puerto Rico for 2 days. They were waiting. They got off the ship on Saturday, and they were getting on the ship on Sunday evening. So we plan a tour from 7 in the morning on Saturday all the way down to 5 p.m. the next day, with a stay in the town of Ponce, which is the second metropolitan area of Puerto Rico. This town is also worth to visit. And Ponce is also another port destination for cruise ships. There's very few of them that stop in Ponce. But if you have, the opportunity to stop at Ponce or visit it on your own, that's something I will recommend as well. But, in terms of my tours, I'm very flexible. I can, I look for transportation as it needed, or sometimes I may even drive my car with, small groups. So let me know, what would you like to do in Puerto Rico? What are your interests? If it's shopping, if it's bars and restaurants, if it's hiking in the forest, or just history in Old San Juan. And, I'll at least try to help you my best to make that possible, right? That's what our vacations are for, make it your own, unwind, and try and have the best experience you can, in those few days you have in vacations that are so important and so, valuable.
How handicap accessible are some of the areas? Some different islands, it's kind of tricky if you're in a wheelchair or you need crutches, or just sometimes elderly people or even young people have trouble just with movement from like long distances in general or with the heat.
Right.
Are there a couple different options that you can provide for people that do need like wheelchairs, crutches, and other things of that like?
Of course. Well, in Old San Juan, it's relatively handicap accessible because you will find ramps along in most of the plazas and the streets of the city. That will be no problem. However, the city is very hilly, so if you don't have an electric scooter, it will be tough to go up and down the streets of Old San Juan in a wheelchair. So, but there's local companies that rent scooters for the handicapped folks, and that will definitely make your visit way easier in Old San Juan. You also got to understand that some of our streets are in cobblestones, so they may be a bit rough for those small wheels of the wheelchairs. So if you have big tires or a wheelchair that is ready for cobblestones, is a recommendation. But in general, Old San Juan is pretty handicap friendly, I'll say.
Kevin Thomas says, I'm doing a cruise to Puerto Rico, and if you don't have a lot of time, what would you recommend to do? Kind of like the number one thing that you should definitely see if you only could see one thing.
Of course, stay in Old San Juan. There's so much to see in Old San Juan that it's not worth to spend time driving elsewhere. Old San Juan, if you are visiting just for a day, if you are in transit, you will be anchoring in Old San Juan, either in Pier 3, 1, or 4. So get off the ship as early as you can, walk inside the town, visit at least one of the forts, and have a meal in Old San Juan. Some of the other attractions you can see in Old San Juan are mostly historical. So if you are into history or into architecture, I will recommend to visit La Fortaleza, as you mentioned before. The Cathedral of San Juan is actually one of the most important historical buildings of the island because it's the second oldest church in the Americas. So in terms of history, this is very valuable. And you will also enjoy the main square of the town, which is Plaza de Armas, which is something. Also, when there's a lot of cruise ships in town, you will have a lot of vendors in the streets. They will have mostly craftsmanship. They will have art, and most of these are artisans, local artisans, that what they sell is what they have done with their hands. There's also many stores to go shopping in Old San Juan if you want to bring a souvenir back home, or a nice bottle of rum. Those are the kinds of things that you can get right in Old San Juan. So that's why there's really no reason to. If it's your first time in Puerto Rico, it's your first time in Old San Juan, don't leave the old town. There's so many things to do that hours are gonna run very fast in there.
It definitely sounds like an area I could just get lost in and have such a great time. I love shopping, drinking, and just eating at all the different restaurants. Love food so much. I could eat probably 3 or 4 different times at that. Jason Tyler asked this question quite a while ago. He says, have any of the cruise ships or cruise lines participated or donated or helped with the post-storm restoration? If so, which ones? And has any one line stood out a bit more than the other?
Well, at least from what I know, what I can tell is that Royal Caribbean donated a trip from San Juan to Florida to survivors of the hurricanes just days after the hurricane hit us. It was very important because many Puerto Ricans have family and friends that have moved to Florida. So it was the first response from the cruise ships to locals in Puerto Rico. So at least to what I know, Royal Caribbean did a magnificent job offering those probably a few thousand passengers a free trip to Florida days after the hurricane. I'm pretty sure other companies have done efforts in the recovery, but at least I cannot mention anything else that I know from firsthand.
Gotcha. Kim Rodney wants to know if the trolley service for Puerto Rico that you mentioned earlier is free or if that's something that you have to pay for.
Well, exactly. There's a free trolley. It will take you around the old town. You don't have to pay anything. It's open to the outdoors, and that's the one that takes you to El Morro, the forts. I mean, and
Is it also
there's
back in
another.
service? Sorry.
I understand that they are, but I'm not quite sure there. I'm not 100% sure. However, I've seen the local local old San Juan trolleys. These are green trucks or green buses, and those I've seen them moving around the town recently. The one that visited the forts, I'm not quite sure. I'm not really cannot remember if they are running or operating again. Right, but still, Old San Juan isn't really too big. So if you're fine walking, you might not even need the trolley to move around the city.
So is the trolley the best way to kind of move from place to place? Would you recommend walking if you just want to stay in San Juan? Or if you want to travel, let's say, a bit further out? I know San Juan's a giant city and there's a lot of stuff to do, but sometimes maybe some people want to check out some of the smaller places. So would you recommend like a bus, bikes, mopeds, or even using different taxis down there? What would you recommend for kind of getting out of the city to a different location?
Well, tourists have many options, and those cruise ship passengers that visit Old San Juan can choose from a taxi. So right in front of the ports, you will see the taxi line, and the taxis are a great option because most of the taxi drivers have at least some basic knowledge in the touristic attractions of Puerto Rico. So they will be, the first line of information that you may have in your visit to San Juan. Uber also offers services all over the San Juan area, actually all over the island now. So Uber is another choice that you can use for transportation, if at least you know where you're heading to. And also a bicycle might be a choice for some of you that would like to explore the coast of San Juan. And that's because from Old San Juan, we have a bike lane that runs down through Puerta de Tierra, the area of Condado, and all the way down to Isla Verde, almost by the airport. So that's easily 8 miles of bike path that travelers can use to visit some of the touristic destinations, the touristic areas of the city. But try to plan ahead. There's some companies that rent bikes and they even deliver. So if you you would like to ride a bike for a few hours in Old San Juan, identify where are those bike lanes and make arrangements with those companies that rent bikes in Old San Juan. Also, you can use the bus. The bus station in Old San Juan is also across the street from Pier 4. So you can just cross the street, and there's a couple of buses that goes through the touristic zone of Old San Juan. Those are a bit unreliable because sometimes they get stuck in traffic, so it's a bit complicated. But it's a good choice because it's only 75 cents the ride. So if you're in the low budget side, you should check out the public transit. Google Maps will be a good guidance for bike path, buses, Uber, and the touristic destinations of Old San Juan and Puerto Rico in general.
Pretty cool, especially that they can just deliver it to you. That's pretty nice to know. I think 8 miles might be a bit steep for me. Maybe just like right down the road and back. That way I don't have to worry too much about that. But Jorge, we want to thank you a lot for coming on the show. We're going to be wrapping up this interview. I have one final question. Where can we find out a little bit more information about you and your tours?
Oh, of course. Well, I work through different companies, but my Facebook page is El Tour Guide PR. So there you can reach me through messages or just follow me to learn a little bit more about Puerto Rico's touristic destinations. I also have a page through Tours by Locals. I sell my tours. This is a company that is found all over the world, and there's 6 tour guides in Old San Juan available to give you tours. That's another option if you are looking for something that is more pre-made, right? So Tours by Locals is another alternative. But if you want to talk straight to me, the best choice you have is El Tour Guide PR. I'll be happy to answer your questions, helping you planning a little bit, and it will be looking forward to meeting you when you visit Old San Juan.
Well, thanks, Jorge, so much for being on the show.
No, thank you for the opportunity, and I hope to be back at some point with you guys. Congratulations for your great program. It's a fantastic way to reach, cruise ship passengers. So, great job.
Thanks. Due to the immense popularity of Cuba, Carnival are adding 20 more dates to its Tampa to Cuba sailings for next year, complementing the 11 cruises to the island taking place aboard the Carnival Paradise. The new voyages aboard Carnival Paradise are in addition to the 17 recently announced Cuba cruises aboard Carnival Sensation departing from Miami in 2019, indicating that more and more travelers view cruising as a great way to experience the destination. Our Cuba cruises have been met with phenomenal guest response since we began sailing to the island last year, and we're thrilled to add yet another 20 voyages to this fascinating and sought-after destination, said Christine Duffy. The newly added 5-day voyage on Carnival Paradise will depart Tampa on Saturdays and features a day-long or full-day and overnight call in the Cuban capital of Havana, along with stops at the tropical destinations of Key West and Cozumel. The visits to Havana comply with the regulations of the U.S. Department of Treasury that permit travel operators to transport approved travelers to Cuba to engage in activities as defined by the U.S. Department of Commerce, Office of Foreign Assets Control. Carnival's shore excursions meet all U.S. government regulations and provide a convenient means for complying with the people-to-people requirements of cruises to Cuba. High-speed internet is slowly being rolled out on the Carnival cruise ships. The Carnival Horizon has the new, faster-than-fastest internet at sea on board, and this was evident this week as she sailed with a full complement of crew and passengers in Europe. And Carnival's John Heald was on board, live blogging to Facebook with much higher quality and no dropouts as he walked all over the ship. Carnival has purchased a new internet system from O3B Networks, the same company that Royal Caribbean uses for its systems. However, Carnival have been able to purchase the next generation system that offers much more speed and reliability, and it was certainly shown on the horizon this week. We here at CruiseWeek.tv certainly can't wait to see it rolled out on other ships in the fleet so that we can bring you more live videos on the ship and coverage so much more on Carnival ships in general. We wonder what Royal is going to do to change its fastest internet at sea. Slogan to now. So our cruise show and all the wonderful abilities we have to bring in guests remotely wouldn't be possible at the level we do without vMix. vMix is a live production software that powers our live show and many other high-end productions, from church services to football games. More and more live productions run on vMix. What our producer Bird really liked when he was trying to improve our show was that they give you a full 60-day trial of everything. That way you can test it out risk-free before you buy for 2 full months. Then they have systems starting from just $350 up to $1,500 depending on your production requirements. If you're going to do any sort of serious live streaming, you need vMix. Try it free at vmix.com today. My wonderful and very, very talkative co-host, Shelly, had such a great reception to her topic last time that she only managed to get through half of it. So this week we will finish off talking about the favorite things on board of your favorite ships. Hi, Shelly.
Are you trying to say that I talk too much, Matt, in a very nice way?
Not too much. It's just you have so much wonderful knowledge to give people, and we have such a limited amount of time for the show. It's hard to get everything in one day.
I'm a cornucopia of information. Is that what you're trying to tell me? I'm a cornucopia.
Sure.
That's right, Matt. Last week we were talking about all the favorite things that we'd love to do on our Carnival cruise, and I got through about half of it, realized it was like 8:15 or 9, or I don't know, whatever the time changes. And I was like, okay, and sped through the last half of it. And we didn't really get the response from the viewers that we wanted because everybody was really getting into it and talking about their favorite things as well. So this time we're doing part 2 of our favorite Carnival things, whether it's the cabins or the food or whatever it is. So I believe the last time I was on that we got to our favorite cabin types, And then from there, I rushed through it and didn't really, get a chance to go much further. So we'll start with part 2.
Also, guys,
what are
this is very interactive too. We want you guys to comment, and we are going to interact with you as much as we possibly can through these.
Right. We want you guys to tell us, I'm going to give you my favorite and why, and we would love to hear your favorite and why at the same time. So,
you already got a question. What are you drinking?
Well, normally, Richard, I like to have my wine, but tonight I don't know, it's been a long week. I needed a little something, a little more, so I'm having a little vodka, Grey Goose, of course, with ginger ale and a splash of cranberry. So there you go. You don't want to dilute it with too much cranberry, just a little bit.
It's just for color.
But anyway, I just like it because it's pink. I like
nice. Cranberries are red, so it must be very diluted.
I'm drinking it out of my very awesome insulated. Oh, I didn't mean to show the dent. I dropped it on the floor the other day when I was washing it, and it actually dented it. Oh, it could be like, it is a finger. Now I'm kind of glad I did it, man. I'm going to turn the lid around a little bit here. So my thumb fits in there perfectly. So when people ask, I'll be like, it came this way. It came with a thumb holder print place.
Custom ordered.
It is. Well, actually, this was something I found online. I added it to my Christmas wish list. It's called Cool Cups. And they're like little wine glass Tervis cups or wine glass Arctic cups. They're all insulated and they have a little lid on them and stuff. So, but anyway, that's my drink for this evening. And seeing as how it's Arctic temperatures in Houston again tonight, after the show, me and the husband are going to go and have our Saturday night campfire because it's freezing. Hello, is this April? I should already be sweating and stuff and have frizzy hair. I can't believe how cold it is outside. Winter, you're drunk. You need to go on home, okay? So anyway, we left off with my favorite cabin type, so I've got several more of our favorites. So the next subject would be our favorite activity on board. So there's cruise activities. If you're cruising with a group of people, like I always do with the CCPPF group cruises, we have a lot of activities that we plan on our own as a group. There's all kinds of, things that you can find in your fun times, the hairy chest contest or, anything like that. But for me, almost all of the cruises, all of the cruises I've gone on since 2012 have been either CCPPF or the CCPPF Divas. And I think my favorite thing that we do activity-wise as a group is the cabin crawl.
Let me guess, there's drinking.
Matt, every activity there's drinking. Are you kidding me? So the cabin crawl is basically like a pub crawl, except this is a way for all of you to, you sign up as a host or a crawler. And our host cabins, we try to get a variety of cabins, whether it's a balcony or an ocean view or an aft balcony or a scenic ocean view or any, different types of cabins. So it gives everybody a way to see all the different types of cabins available. And also each host is required to provide either a trinket or a snack or a shot. So, of course, we prefer the cabins that have the shots. But so, for example, on the Diva Cruise coming up on April 26th, the 5th annual, I think we have 9 cabins and probably about 40 different people that are going to crawl on it. So they're going to go to 9 different cabins, get 9 different shots, and see all the different cabins that are available. So that's a lot of fun.
By the end of that, I'm sure, all the hosts become crawlers, right?
Well, no, the way we do it is so everybody meets at the same place. So normally our meeting place is like the atrium bar. So we all meet there, and then about 20-30 minutes before the cabin crawl, if you're a host, you need to go back to your cabin and get it ready and get your shots ready or whatever. But we all crawl as a group. So when we get to your cabin and you're a host, then you go in and you host your cabin and give out the shots. We used to do a poker run with that as well, where we give out poker cards and everybody do a $5 buy-in and stuff. But we had a little bit of drama on one cruise where people were accusing people of switching cards and stuff like that. I don't want any drama on my group cruise. So it's just the cabin crawl now. So that's been so basically at the end of the cabin crawl, you're talking about 8 to 10 different shots that you've had. So normally a lot of people know, well, not a lot of people, but if you cruise out of Texas a lot, we have some weird liquor laws, and the Cheers package, the unlimited drink package, is not available on the first night. You have to be in international waters. Texas doesn't allow unlimited drink packages. I don't know why. But so basically, we usually have the cabin crawl on the very first night of the cruise. So this provides everyone with free booze. So because you're having to buy your drinks on the first night because your Cheers isn't available until the second morning. So we'll do that, and everybody gets 8 to 10 shots. And by the end of the cabin crawl, we're carrying Kim back to the cabin. We're trying to muzzle Andy because, she's gone crazy. It's loads of fun. You definitely need to do it. So anyway, that's been my favorite activity on board. For ship sponsored activities, I think the most fun that I have of anything is just lounging by the pool with all my friends and the group of people, going to the hairy chest contest. I mean, I know some people are they're like, oh, I can't believe they do stuff like that. It's so fun though.
Couple questions about the alcohol. Bird asked and is curious, is the Cheers cheaper because of that rule? Because you can't get it on the first day. Does that make it like 4 days instead if it was like a 5-day cruise? Or
Okay. So let's say you're going on a 7-day cruise out of Galveston. You're only going to pay for 6 days of Cheers, but you're paying full price on day one for every cocktail you drink. So no, it's not really cheaper.
That's when that bottle of wine
Cheers
comes in.
is cheaper. Right. That's where that little carry-on bottle of wine helps out. And the cabin crawl. I mean, you get free shots from all your cabin friends. And of course, probably one question would be like, well, how do they provide shots for you? Okay, so of course nobody smuggles alcohol on board because that is strictly prohibited by Carnival rules. So what you want to do is you want to order a bottle of booze from the fun shops that will be delivered to your cabin so that you can participate in the cabin crawl. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So, but anyway, like I was saying, other fun things to do on the ship, like one of my favorite things is like just hanging out by the pool, the hairy chest contest. I just love that. I love seeing the old dudes with the gigantic bellies and hair all over them, and they're dancing and doing their thing. I mean, I think it's loads of fun. I think everybody should go and see that. It's fun. Do you have a hairy chest, Matt?
Like 7 chest hairs right there.
Could you do the Austin Powers thing and just like glue it
on
there?
Maybe. I don't know. That's a lot of hairs compared to some of these people at the contest. They got more surface area too than I have.
It's like,
usually.
Are you a hairy chest contest or a hairy back contest? What are we doing here? So I've seen it where they were a little furry on both sides. So, But anyway, it's a lot of fun. The whole deck is having fun. Everybody's having a good time. So that's something fun to do. The next
favorite activity.
Oh, go ahead.
My favorite activity.
I want to know your favorite activity, Matt.
I really like the. I can't remember what it's called now.
Right. Oh, here he can't even remember what his favorite thing is.
Movie night. What is the movie night called? There's a specific.
The dine-in movies.
Not the
dive-in movies. Yes.
I absolutely love that. That's
where you can't find a chair.
Yeah,
Where you
that's
said
annoying.
last time you can't find a chair?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to like fight some parents though about these things. If their kids aren't there, I'm taking their chair. Sorry, you can share, parents. I don't
Just
care at
knock
this
them
rate.
out. Be like, I don't care about your kid, okay? I'm watching Terminator or whatever.
It's hard to
You're
do
like,
with Bird
what's
following me with the
Terminator?
camera behind me. It's very difficult to edit that out. Just like me talking to them and then kid on the floor. It's a little, you can kind of see the transition there.
I would love to see you like punching out some kid on the
Nope,
like, this is my seat.
nope. Favorite indulgence on board, shall we? Well, it kind of depends if Moana's playing. That might happen. It's like my favorite movie right now is Moana. But anyway, favorite
You're like
indulgence
kicking
on
kids
board.
off to the side. So, favorite indulgence. So, not all of the ships with Carnival have the updated Cloud9 spa with the thermal chairs, the Thalasso mineral pool, the rainforest showers, the sauna, and the steam room. Charisse, yes, Quest. You know, I
Drop
missed
those
that
kids
on the
off.
last cruise. I missed that on the last one, but I seen some of my friends with some panties on their head from some. I don't even. I'm almost scared to go at this point, but I actually haven't been to a Quest yet. But I want to do that. I
Shelley,
want to do
are
that.
you sure that wasn't from the
that
cabin
sounds fun.
crawl? Are you sure that wasn't from the cabin crawl with the panties on my head?
So anyway, moving on. I hear Bird. I hear you. So anyway, the Cloud9 spa. So a lot of people are like, "What's the difference? Why should I get a spa cabin? Why should I spend the extra money?" If you're on, there are only. Well, at one time there were only 4, and I think the Vista has it too, but they don't have the Thalasso mineral pool. There's only 4 or 5 ships in the Carnival fleet that have what they call the Cloud9, the updated Cloud9 spa that has the Thalasso mineral pool and all these extras. On all the other ships, the spa is no charge. They have the gym and they have some steam rooms, and that's about it. However, on Magic, Dream, gosh, now you're making me think. A couple other ones. You can actually, they have what they call the Cloud9 Spa, which is an updated version of this. And those spa cabins, so the spa will cost you $250 per couple or $150 per person. And that's for the unlimited use for the entire week. Of course, massage and all that's considered a salon service. That's not included. But I mean, what a treat. I mean, I could just lay in those thermal chairs. It's like this tile chair that heats up. And I mean, they play in this really soft, like, heart music. And, you go in the steam rooms and the sauna. But the thing that I found is a few times I did pay the extra money to get a spa cabin. So they're a little bit more than a regular cabin. But I mean, there's so many things going on the cruise. It's like I wanted to go there every second of every cruise, right? But I paid all this extra money to get a spa cabin, and I only went there like 3 times. So now what I do is, if I'm on a ship that does have the updated Cloud9 spa, what I'll do is they offer a day pass where you can just go for a day at a time, and I love to treat myself to at least one day.
Pass, now, is the day pass like, okay, you go there once in the day and that's over? Can you go as many times as you want?
No, it's unlimited. You can go as many times in a day as you want, but it's just for that one day. So that's what I do now, because as much as I'd like to spend my entire cruise in there, it's just not possible.
Yeah.
There's too many other things going on.
Especially
so
if other people don't have it, you want to like interact with other people sometimes.
Right. And I mean, and on all the group cruises, we have all these other activities planned. I couldn't spend as much. I couldn't justify spending the money for the amount of time I spent in there.
Yeah.
So, a day pass to just be able to go for one day and experience it. It's wonderful. It's so relaxing. You go out, you got your little, and if you have a spa cabin, also you have a private access to the elevators that go to the spa. It's not, you can just put your bathrobe on and walk to the private elevator and go right to the spa. Nobody will see you in your robe or take pictures of you and post it on Facebook. Been there, done that. But anyway, so moving on to the next one. So the next would be who is your favorite cruise director? So this is a hard one for me because we're coming up on the 5th annual group cruise for CCPPF and for the Divas. And all of our cruise directors for every single one of these cruises have gone above and beyond. They provided me with bags full of ships on a stick and medals, and they've shown up for our activities and done photo opportunities and helped us in anything we needed. But I have to say that my favorite cruise director so far has to be Frankie the Tank. So he's the only cruise director that we've had. It seems like every cruise we go on, we would love. Sharice, I haven't sailed with Reverend Dr. E, and I haven't sailed with Matt yet. So as it stands now, Frankie the Tank is my favorite. He's been our cruise director on 2 different Diva cruises. He's amazing. He's full of energy. He's funny. When the Divas donated $1,200 to St. Jude's, he was there to take pictures with the big check. He was a great cruise director. You guys we've had him on the show for an interview. There's been I hate to single him out because every cruise director has been great for us on the group cruises, but Frankie's gone above and beyond. He really has. So he's my favorite so far.
It's kind of difficult for me. I've only had 2 cruise directors while I'm actually on the ship, and that was Dr. E, and that was also Jess from the US. Both really great. Dr. E, I think, just takes slight edge over Jess because of the way he would always wake up. That was like the iconic symbol is how he would always wake you up in the morning.
And of course, we have Matt Mitchum, which 3 different group cruises now. He was scheduled to be our cruise director, and something happened and his vacation landed in that same time. So Matt, if you're watching, you better get with it, buddy. Okay,
he's writing it down. Okay, they're going on. The Divas are going on the next cruise on this time. Nope, vacation.
Matt, don't you know who I am? You know we have 170,000 members now. I helped Matt reach his.
It takes a lot of effort to keep track of all of them together.
I helped Matt reach his. I don't remember how many likes he wanted to get in order to be some status or something, but I promoted his butt off in the group, and he knows it. So you better be on one of our group cruises, Matt. If you're watching, I got my eye on you.
We've also had a lot of different cruise directors on the show as well who I've not cruised with, and everyone so far has been absolutely amazing. It's really hard to pick a favorite. Everyone's so unique in their own way.
I'd love to go with Chris, the Flying Scotsman. I haven't been with him yet. I love him. He seems like he's super fun. I'm hoping he'll come up on one of our cruises pretty soon. So next we got, what's your favorite port? I mean, do we need to take a break? Do we need to talk about anybody else's favorite stuff? What's going on?
We're good. We're good.
Where are we? We're good? Okay. So the next is what's your favorite port? Hands down, Cozumel. I've been on 15 cruises now. I have been
we also have, sorry, stopping you real quick. Rick's yelling at me. Richard wants to know, how do you find out what cruise director is on the ship exactly? I'm assuming he means before you go on the ship?
If you go to carnival.com, they have maybe it might be on John Heald's page. I know that there's a cruise director schedule. I think it might.
How do you put a link up? It is on John Heald's page on his blog.
Yeah, John Heald's page. He has a schedule for what cruise directors will be, what dates, and when they're on vacation, and who takes their place while they're gone. So you can go there to find out who's your cruise director coming up. So anyway, back to my favorite port, Cozumel. And of course, my favorite tour operator of all time, who's been on the show twice now. And I have had the pleasure of not only on cruises every time I go to Cozumel, but also actually my 12-year wedding anniversary is tomorrow. And we spent our 10-year? I think our 10-year wedding anniversary we spent in Cozumel with Adrian Cozumel. Cozumel in general, my very first trip to the Caribbean was when I was about 8 or 9 years old. My dad took me to Cancun for a week, and I fell in love with the Caribbean. That's probably why I cruise so much now, is because when I go there, I feel like I'm home. And maybe I was a Mayan princess in my former life. What do you think, Matt? You think with my white skin, I might have been a Mayan princess?
I'm pretty sure most of those were virgin princesses, Shally.
Maybe I was the daughter of a king. It doesn't mean I had to be a virgin. Oh my God. I thought this was a family-friendly show, Matt. What happened to family-friendly?
I've been so
But
sidetracked
anyway,
by most of the people on this show, Shally. You know, it's hard. It's hard.
but anyway, Cozumel it's one of the few ports that I've ever gone to that I feel completely comfortable either hiring a tour guide like Adrian or just venturing out on my own, going and renting a Jeep. Now, I would not rent a moped or a scooter or anything like that. And Adrian will even tell you himself, you're not used to that country. You're not used to the way they drive. The signs are in Spanish. There have been many of people carted back onto a cruise ship in a wheelchair because of being on a scooter. I'm not recommending that at all.
It could also be because it's not illegal to drink and drive in a lot of these places, so I wonder how alluring that is to people because it's something they can do.
They've been at Fat Tuesdays all day long, and then they go get on their scooter and think they're going to ride around, and they don't know what, alto means. And
they can even ride with a beer in their hand.
Right. They're just, hey, what's up? So, but anyway, it's one of the few places, like, I've rented a Jeep there several times when we've been. I've driven around the island with just me and my husband or me and some friends. And Cozumel is and always will be. I don't matter how many times I've been on a cruise. It's my favorite place to go. It's very friendly. It's very tourist friendly. Everybody speaks English. Everybody's ready to help you. So that's my favorite port. Well, and then then we move on to who's your favorite tour operator. Well, obviously I love Adrian, but also in addition to Adrian would be Javia Shaw from No Jamaica. These guys, both of them have become family. They're not just tour operators to me anymore. They're my family. In fact, I'm trying to get Javia to come and stay with us here in Houston. He's planning a trip. He's going to come and spend the weekend at my house. Both of them are the best. I would not go to either to Jamaica or Cozumel without one of those doing my tour, because they are the best.
Both of them have been on the show before too. So if you guys are interested to get to see Javia or Adrian, Adrian's been on the show twice now, and we've also had a tour with him too around Cozumel, and it was really awesome. So you guys can go back to CruiseWeek.tv. Check out those videos.
He basically will do anything. I mean, he'll basically do any kind. I mean, just like Jorge was saying earlier, he has set tours that he does, but he will customize just about anything. And so will Javia. The short bus. Remember, everybody, the short bus. So anyway, we're loving the short bus in Jamaica. So anyway, I wouldn't trust my vacation in those two ports to anybody else. I'm hoping to talk to Jorge because CCPPF 6th Annual Puerto Rico is one of our stops, so I'm hoping to talk to Jorge so we can work something out.
I'll give him a warning beforehand.
We're coming to see you, Jorge. We're coming to see you. Fair warning.
The hurricane was bad.
Yeah. Here comes Hurricane Shally. But so anyway, your favorite excursion. So I have two of these. We've done many over the years, and as a new cruiser, I never really ventured out. The first several cruises I went on, it was always a carnival excursion of some sort. But when I decided to go out of the box, met Adrian, went on the catamaran. The other excursion that I love is Moshi over in Little French Key. If you're going to Roatan, I can't think of any better paradise you could go to than Little French Key. I don't want to get all political. They have a lot of corrupt government things going on over there, and he's had a hard time with some things, but he's going strong. He has the most beautiful little island that you can go see while you're there. They have a zoo, they have wildlife, birds, they have a reef to snorkel on, a beautiful beach to hang out on. It's one of the best places I've ever been. So please, I think we've had Moshi on the show before. So if you're in Roatan, I highly recommend Little French Key as your excursion. If you're in Cozumel, I highly recommend Adrian, of course. Javia in Jamaica, anything you want to do, these guys will take care of you 100%. So the last thing on my list was what's my favorite show on the ship. So you know, the first couple of cruises you go on, it's like, oh, we got to go to the big show in the main theater and all this. And not that I don't have fun doing that, but I'm over it. Basically, for me, I'd rather go spend my evening at the comedy club. We've had Rob Little on the show. Hopefully, he's going to be our comedian for 6th
Lucas
annual.
Bone.
He is so funny. But Rob and I have become really good friends, and I love going to the comedy club. The thing about the comedy club, though, is you've kind of got to be a chair hog in that. You've kind of got to get there early. You've got to be, well, you know, you've got to go because the line will be around the door. It'll be standing room only. Yeah.
Make sure you bring drinks before you get there, too, because the lines to the bars are huge.
Well, usually what I do is a cocktail waitress comes by. So you can only do cheers every 5 minutes, right? You can't only order a drink every 5 minutes. Well, you know there's no way they're getting back to the bar in 5 minutes. So the cocktail waitress will come over. I need a martini. She leaves. You come. I'm gonna need a martini, and then within a few minutes, I got 2 or 3 martinis sitting on the table. You know, and they're all spaced out because there's no way they could have done it any quicker. I've learned a lot of tricks, Matt. I know what I'm doing.
I'm sure you have. I've never really been to a huge amount of the shows on the ships. I've been to the adult scavenger hunts, and that's pretty much like the only show that I've been to on my own.
About Quest?
Yeah, Quest.
The Quest, yeah.
I was drinking with Zach before on, it was like the top floor of the atrium, when this older woman, dressed a bit provocatively, clearly tipsy, not sober, comes up to us and she's like, have you guys seen the magic show yet? And we're like, no. And she's like, oh no, you gotta come. And then she grabs us by the arms and like drags us into the magic show. I'm like, okay, I guess we're going to the magic show now. So I've been to Quest.
Was it fun? Did you enjoy it? I haven't been to the magic show.
I'm a very big stickler for magic shows. I grew up loving magic and a lot of things, so a lot of the show stuff is very cliche to me. Like, there are tricks that are very well known. I've seen them done multiple times. I've seen how they're done, so it kind of gets rid of, like, the magic for me. So it's not like it's super duper great. Comedy shows, I'm not, like, a great funny, humorous type of person. Until I drink quite a lot, then, you know, I like going to comedy
Matt,
shows.
You're super funny. What do you mean? We all love laughing at you. What are you talking about?
This is host persona. This is
Notice I said laughing at you.
Oh, that's fine, Shelly. That's like part of my job. Don't worry. I'm trying not to read like some of these other comments about you to save your feelings a little bit more there.
What are they saying about me? I haven't been looking.
Oh, don't worry. We've been very diligent about removing them.
You know, another show that's a lot of fun that people might not realize how fun it is the Love and Marriage show. It's usually on a C-day afternoon. They pick the newest married couple, which is usually somebody that got married on the ship. Then they have somewhere in the middle, and then they'll have the oldest married couple, and it's a lot of fun. They ask what it is they set them back. They give them a little pad of paper, and they ask them, okay, you know, what did you think about your first kiss or whatever? So they have to compare answers, and you know, if they both get the answer right, then they get to win that little section of it. But it's really funny because, man, I'll tell you what, men get themselves in so much trouble in that show. I'm wondering how many divorces happened after love and marriage because they did not answer the question right. And their wives were like, you should have known the answer to that question. And
How do
I'm
you
not
not know
speaking
my
to you.
birthday after 14 years?
Exactly.
Well, Facebook reminds me a week before.
Right. But it's a lot of fun. That's a fun show to go to too. I don't go to the big productions as much anymore that I used to go to, but I do like to go to the Love and Marriage show. I love the Hairy Chess contest. That's not really a show, but I like to go to the comedy show. Of course, you can if you want to go to the art showing, of course, which is Matt's favorite, where you can go and get free champagne. It's not a show, but they
The
do
art
have free
only
booze.
gets better with the champagne.
Right, you're like, ooh, that's so pretty. I want that hanging in my room.
It's fun
Matt
to
walks
see
out
some
with
of
a
them and
maxed out $5,000 credit card later. I hope the free champagne was worth it.
I think towards the end they give you a lot of champagne. They start
Yeah,
at like really high prices, like 14,000, 15,000. Everyone's looking at each other like, nope, not doing that. I'm here for the champagne. And then towards the end, it's like $80, $100, and after people are drinking, like, oh wow, this is
you're like,
really
that's a good
affordable.
deal.
I should
Man,
get
that's
this piece
discounted
of art.
600%.
Exactly. It's estimated at over $7,000, but they're giving it to me for a one-time sale of $45.
Right, $45. Whoa! But yeah, so anyway, those are all my favorites. This was part 1 and part 2, and I've been super blessed to go on so many cruises that I've been able to see and do a lot of these different things and have favorites. Some people only get to go on one cruise every now and then, or maybe one cruise of a lifetime, but I've been really blessed to be able to do more than that. So I have my favorites list, and hopefully this helped out some of you new cruisers and some of the old cruisers that maybe haven't done some of this stuff before. So that's all I got for this week.
Well, thanks, Shelly, and as always, we look forward to what you got on the next show with me. So let me ask everyone watching right now, what would ruin their day at the beach besides the weather? Because, rain kind of ruins your day at the beach. Snow, also pretty bad to go to the beach. So I'll give you a little bit of time to type out your answers. And I'm not looking for like one specific answer here, as I'm sure there's a bunch of them. A couple could be, like losing your wallet. That would kind of suck. Jewelry, not having beach equipment, stuff like that. Not super great to do. So I'll give you guys a little bit of time to answer that. For me, it would be being stung by a jellyfish or animal. That would really suck. So Jason says theft would be pretty bad. I agree. Losing wallet, getting stuff stolen from a mug, anything like that, that's generally pretty bad. But for me, that's a very rare occasion, I imagine, that happens. So getting stung by a jellyfish. I've lived on the water my whole entire life in Connecticut, and I've been stung multiple different times. And I'm kind of used to the feeling by now, but for most of you guys who haven't, it can be pretty unpleasant and sometimes life-threatening depending on the species. Have any of you guys ever been stung by a jellyfish before? If so, what did it feel like? Where were you, and how did you treat it? So let me first debunk one thing. Peeing on a jellyfish sting does not help. Doesn't help. It can sometimes even make it worse. Let me go over what a jellyfish is and how they sting. So, a jellyfish or jellies are soft-bodied, free-swimming aquatic animals with a gelatinous umbrella-shaped bell and trailing tentacles. The bell can pulsate and acquire propulsion and locomotion. The tentacle may also be utilized to capture prey and defend itself against predators by emitting toxins and a painful sting. So right now, this video is showing the pneumatocysts, which are the stinging cells, erupting out of the tentacles using a very high propulsion and injecting into the prey's tissue. These are very, very painful, and they inject a lot of venom into your blood system. Jellyfish species are classified in a subphylum of Medusoa, which makes up a major part of the phylum Cnidaria. Although not all Medusoa's species are considered to be jellyfish. Jellyfish are found in every ocean from the surface to the deep sea. Schizozoans, the true jellyfish, are the exclusively marine and sometimes hydrozoans with a similar appearance to live in a freshwater area. Large, often colorful jellyfish are common in coastal zones worldwide. Jellyfish have roamed the seas for at least 500 million years and possibly 700 million years or more, making them the oldest multi-organ animals. A group of jellyfish is sometimes called a bloom or a swarm. Bloom is usually used for a large group of jellyfish that gather in a small area, but may have also had a time component referring to a seasonal increase or number beyond what was expected. Jellyfish sting their prey using nematocysts, also called cnidocysts, stinging structures which are localized, specialized cells called cnidocytes, which are a characteristic of all cnidaria. Contact with the jellyfish tentacle can trigger millions of nematocysts to pierce the skin and inject venom, yet only some species of venom cause an adverse reaction to humans. When a nematocyst is triggered by contact or predator or prey, pressure builds up rapidly inside up to 2,000 pounds per square inch, which is 14,000 kilopascals, until it bursts. A lance inside of the nematocyst pierces the victim's skin and venom flows through the victim. Touching or being touched by a jellyfish can also be very uncomfortable, sometimes requiring medical assistance. Sting effects range from no effect to extreme pain, even to death. Even beached and dying jellyfish can still sting when touched. The sea wasp, a box jellyfish found in Australian waters, and more recently, Florida waters, can kill an adult human within minutes. A thin covering such as, get this, pantyhose, was found to be a sufficient amount of protection. The pantyhose were formerly thought to work because the length of the nematocysts are not really known to be related to the other stinging cells and how they work. So the stinging cells of the box jellyfish tentacles are not triggered by the pressure of pantyhose. Instead, they are triggered by chemicals found on the skin, and pantyhose hinders this detection of chemicals, preventing the nematocysts from stinging. So if you're worried about that, put on some pantyhose and go for a little dip. Okay, now this is the important stuff, so listen up. The 3 goals of first aid for uncomplicated stings are to prevent injury to rescuers, deactivate the nematocyst, and remove the tentacles attached to the patient. Rescuers usually wear barrier clothing such as pantyhose, wetsuits, or full body suits for sting protection suits while removing jellies or tentacles from the injured. Deactivating the nematocyst, or stinging cells, prevents further injection of venom. Vinegar at 3 to 10% aqueous acetic acid may be used as a common remedy to help with a box jellyfish sting, but not the stings of a Portuguese man-o-war, which is not a true jellyfish, but a seminophore. For stings on or around the eyes, a towel dampened with vinegar may be used to dab around the eyes, which can take some of the pain away from it. Salt water may also be used as an alternative if vinegar is unavailable, and it may be preferred over vinegar. Fresh water is not used if the sting occurs in salt water, as a change in tonicity can release additional venom. Rubbing the wounds or using alcohol, spirits, ammonia, or urine may also strongly have negative effects, as it can also encourage the venom to be released. Cleaning the area of the jellyfish tentacles and wetness further reduces nematocysts from firing, and scraping the affected skin with a knife edge or safety razor or credit card may remove the remaining nematocysts. Beyond the initial first aid, antihistamine such as Benadryl may control skin irritation. Ice or fresh water is not usually applied to stings since they may cause nematocysts to continue to release toxins, which is pretty bad for most people. So remember, we have many past videos available for you to watch at our website at CruiseWeek.tv, which also has links to our t-shirt page and support pages as well if you would like to help us out with funding for our Season 2 trip, or if you would like to advertise on the show, you can do that with the links from our site. If you know someone who will enjoy watching the show as much as you, be nice and share that link to their Facebook wall so they too can enjoy. Please like and subscribe our YouTube channel and Facebook pages. Just doing that alone really shows our sponsors the support we have and helps keep the show live each and every week. Plus, you get entered into some great swag cruise drawings. Join myself and Bird this Wednesday for our cruise ship social live chat at 8 p.m. when we get to know you guys a little bit better, and you guys get to know myself a little better in a more casual setting. Joe's back next week with more cruise news and information from other ships on the ocean. Till then, I'm Matt, and we'll see you on the ships.